What's going on? Welcome to Community Connect with Gerwin and Pash. How are you doing, Gerwin? It's been a while.
It has been a hot second. I'm doing great, Pash. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to today's episode very much. And before we do that, it's been we had 2 weeks since our last, so actually 3 weeks later from the last episode, right?
Yeah, we had a small hiatus, I think. I think there was a lot going on. What's been going on in the world of Pash?
We got to go to California. My wife and I, Danielle had a business trip, and then she took me as her plus one because it ended up being also in line with our 28th wedding anniversary. Yeah, there's a lot of people that lost that bet. Yes. Yep.
That's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we went to Sacramento first, saw our cousin and the kids, and then we went to San Diego for the rest of the trip. And one of the highlights, besides just being with my wife, was USS Midway. It was Memorial Day weekend, right? So we got to go onto the carrier, and it's a museum, and it was amazing.
Wow, that's cool. Did you get to take pictures on that?
Oh yeah, lots of pictures. I have some of them are already posted on Facebook, but yes, I have lots of pictures.
Excellent. I can't wait to see those. That's really neat. And you also, I think since we last talked, you had a big event that you hosted.
Oh yeah, our birthday. That's right. Empower in Adirondack, New York, celebrated our 1 year anniversary, birthday party. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Another huge milestone. Those are, that's congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Now, I didn't coordinate the dates of our birthday here in Adirondack with my anniversary, although it does help me remember both. So, little tip for you.
Because my Empower anniversary is coming up. Wait a minute.
But speaking of anniversary, didn't you also have your anniversary?
It's literally today.
Today is the actual anniversary.
Today is our actual anniversary. Yep. So yeah, this is I think we're calling it our third anniversary, I think is how that goes. So yeah, we're super excited. We with work and some other things going on today, we're actually celebrating tomorrow. We're very excited. We're going down to a place called FLX Table, kind of down in the Finger Lakes. From what we hear, it's a very neat dining experience. So we'll let you know how it is, but we're super excited for
it. Thanks for the invitation, by the way.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for the invitation to San Diego.
Yeah. Oh, well, it got lost in the mail. You're welcome. Yeah. All right. We can go on for hours, and we do have to catch up sometime, but enough about us.
Yes.
All right. So how to proceed is really a bit of a question mark for me. I want to make sure we get this one so right. Both the individual guest, Jim McKnight, was a good friend of mine and my neighbor. Means a lot to me. I want to make sure we get this correct for him, but also the agency that we're also plugging, Guiding Eyes for the Blind, is also near and dear to the entire family and any of his friends who've seen, what their impact has been on his life. So what I decided to do is I'll just give you a quick rundown about Jim McKnight. Jim is a very selfless person, does not like to be the center of attention. So I dragged him here for a quick question and answer period where he can just share his story a little bit and the value of Guiding Eyes. So Jim grew up in Rochester. He worked for 45 years. He retired in October of 2021. And he really enjoyed it for about 6 months. And then unfortunately had some health problems, which eventually, included the loss of his vision. That is the point where after some time, a family member introduced him to this agency, Guiding Eyes for the Blind. And things changed massively over time for the better. And we're going to get into all of that in a moment. So before we introduce Jim to the camera, though, I want to talk about Guiding Eyes as well. They're are tons of facts and figures that go behind this agency. I'm going to go over some of the highlights, and I also promise that I will not do justice to it in one session. We could probably do a full 1 hour session on just guiding eyes for the blind, but I'm going to give some highlights that from my, and Greggles Gerwin, that sometimes my research is not always accurate. This is 100% accurate.
Okay.
So Guiding Eyes for the Blind provides guide dogs. It provides guide dogs to people who with vision loss. They're passionate about connecting exceptional dogs with individuals for greater independence. They are a 501c3 nonprofit organization with all services provided completely free of charge. And at Guiding Eyes, they rely on the contributions of generous donors to fulfill their mission. Their main headquarters and training center is in Yorktown Heights, New York, and the Canine Development Center is in Patterson, New York. And like I said, there's tons of facts and figures, but I'll say they've had about 70 years of existence, founded in 1954. They have had, they place about 150 guide dogs annually. They've had more than 10,000 graduated guide dog teams throughout their history. And they have more than 1,400 volunteers. That was very impressive to me. And as far as the fundraising, I kind of hit on that. Everything's provided free of charge to the people who have lost their vision. They receive little to no government funding, and support almost entirely comes from individuals, corporations, and foundations. So that's going to be part of our ending to all of this, is how people can plug in and support this great organization. So that's a lot of information to take in, but it's very impactful, and I think we did okay there. And I'm sure some more of these facts will also come, maybe be uncovered as we're talking, because I know you don't have the privilege of knowing Jim and everything up to this point. So you're going to give a good perspective on stuff that maybe I take for granted that I've experienced with him. And so, anyway,
it's real. I mean, the things that stand out to me already are how many dogs they place with people a year. I mean, that's incredible just from I'm assuming a training standpoint. And then the fact that they receive very little government funding is, I guess it's tragic, right? But also, like, they're doing great without it. But I'd love to see that if they want it or need it, I'd love to see them get it, So anyway, those are just two things that really stood out to me. So,
right. Yeah. And there'll be, like I said, we may come up with some more points as we go on. So now, with all that being said, let's introduce, and this is going to be a first time for us as well, because our guest, I'm not bringing him on stage and just pressing a button. He's literally right there. Hey, Jim McKnight. Jim, wait for the camera. It's right here.
How you doing?
So we're doing great, Jim. How are you doing?
Sorry, Greg. Let me also just, because we're introducing,
yes, please.
That's Jim McKnight, but you can notice that Peony's name is actually on our site here too. So we're going to quickly just have Peony say hello. Peony, say hi. Peony, take a look. Are you shy?
Yeah.
She's shy. She's a little shy.
Hi, Peony.
Oh,
adorable.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're all here, and we're going to start by, Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. I know it's not necessarily the most comfortable you've ever been, but I'm sure it'll get more as time goes on.
The last couple of years haven't been uncomfortable either.
Okay. All right. So if you, and I understand that, would you like to talk any more in depth about how you got to where you are right now? Any part of what I said that you'd like to expand?
I can talk a little bit about that. It was the last 2 years, my road to guiding eyes. So that was very important that I didn't know about. But back in, like Jim said, in October of 21, I finally retired. And then six months later, I was doing great in retirement. I ended up having a heart attack. So we made it to the hospital. They got things under control, and then they decided it was time for my surgery. We got in there. It was supposed to be a 45-minute surgery just to put a stent in. And we ended up in there for almost 8 hours. They blew my main artery with the stent. And next thing you know, it was open heart bypass surgery where a lot of complications happened. So we made it through. We did fine. After 4 or 5 days, came home. And then I got up in the middle of the night one night, and my vision was gone. And apparently I had a stroke during the night. And that's what ultimately took my vision. And so the next several months, my wife stayed home from work, helped me with everything. And we started getting through it, but it was very depressing, and just soon she had to go back to work. And she still, to this day, that was 2 years ago now, she still sets me up for success every day. Taking care of pre-made meals, just puts my clothes out every day. So that part has gotten a lot better. I'm more efficient with what I do during the day.
If I can, so I'm gonna pause for a second. You did a good job. Thank you for sharing all that. I know it's not easy.
Yeah.
But we got to witness it as family members, friends. We got to experience only a portion of that. Obviously, we cannot fully comprehend and appreciate it as the individual it's happening. So it was a struggle, though, for everyone, I think, to just figure out what the new reality was. Was this permanent or anything? So there's a lot of psychological and emotional stuff going on. And I think it's important that we went and covered this. And I know that was hard for you to share, Jim, but I think it's important because there are some folks who, with vision loss, that it was a birth situation, born without sight. And then there's folks that it happens later on in life. So I don't know I couldn't imagine what's the better or easier way. I don't know that there is one, but I don't think there is. Exactly. So, but as seeing a transition, the one part I don't know that was mentioned, Jim was an independent, very independent person, and always did for other people. And I think and you can correct us on this or not, but the loss of that ability to just literally now be reliant more on people, like he already talked about Victoria, his wife, being almost 100% dependent on other people was probably as big, right?
Yeah. I thought I was the guy. I just helped out all my friends, my family, worked on other houses and stuff, and then taking care of my grandkids to and from school. Everything was gone. And
I think that does at least some job here of explaining where he was at. But then something happened, and this is what we're here for, is talk to us about during that time, somehow you got introduced to this organization.
My sister-in-law gave me a call one day, and she was talking to her cousin, who was a puppy raiser for this corporation or place called Guiding Eyes for the Blind that I had never heard of. Our family just never heard of it. And she raises from about 6 to 8 weeks up to almost a year of the puppies and teaching them all the new tricks they need to learn, how to act, all kinds of things. So we gave her a call, and she got in touch with some people, my wife got in touch with some people, and pretty soon we started getting calls from that. And it took quite a while. There's a lot of steps that build up to getting a guide dog. You just don't walk into the dog store and pick one out and walk away. I needed to be evaluated by people from Guiding Eyes. They would come to my house and honey, you want to come get her? Take me out for walks with my white cane. And those walks, they were filming. We walked quite a ways the first day, and then I got a chance to actually walk with her dog. Now, she could see, but she was training these dogs, so she brought one along. And as she filmed me, she was having lots of questions about me. And one of the big things was she said that I was being too tentative with my cane. And that was just something I didn't grasp. I just went blind. What do you mean? So I guess I was using my cane as a search weapon tool. I was just reaching out there to see if there's any problems with the sidewalks or this and that. And I really wasn't walking. And that was a big issue. So I was actually denied the first time. So I was pretty discouraged. So I went back and I walked my patio, which is only 24 feet long. I walked that probably 150 times back and forth, side to side. And nothing ever changed. The next day I woke up, I did it again. And then just one time, I actually walked. And I knew what they were talking about.
Let me pause.
Yeah.
So I remember the first denial, or what did you call it? It wasn't denial.
I was declined.
Decline. And again, we shared in the experience to some degree because we're like, I didn't realize you had to, there was that much to, other than applying, I didn't realize there was all this prerequisite before you can be considered to go into the next step. There's lots of steps. So that was a surprise to everybody, I think. And then, but I want to go back a little bit. And Greg, I'm sorry, you haven't had a chance. Do you have any questions you want to?
Please keep, this is, I'm learning so much. Please keep going.
So originally, I kind of recall that Jim didn't even want to go through the process. Wasn't that right at first?
Yeah, because I just thought that I'd work it out myself.
And what was it how did that change? Or did someone make you do it?
No, I decided after a little bit, because I got really good at walking with the cane. And then the next level up was the guide dog.
Okay.
So I said, well, I'm going to just take the next step and see where it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Because I remember at first the depression of the whole loss was so bad you didn't even think you wanted to leave the garage, right?
Right.
And that's this is the evolution we're talking about from that level to now hope. Is how I don't know if that word has been.
That was once we got in touch with Guiding Eyes and we heard their stories and we started checking into everything. Yeah. That's when I started to feel much better.
Yeah. All right. So then you going back to now where you were on the patio and you got some more and you felt like, okay, I think I got this.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
So I told the wife to call them back. They said, just give us some time. And it took a few months, and I used that few months to just walk and walk and walk. And the lady finally came back, and we went for another walk, which ended up being pretty scary. she had to film me walking across a major intersection with 5 lanes going 4 different directions. And I had to do it by myself. So she just stayed back and filmed when I thought that it was appropriate to go. I left and I scooted to the other side of that street. There was no fooling around. So I got over there and I thought it was done. And she says, "Well, come on back." I thought she was going to come over and grab me, but she did not. So I went back. And then she said, "Now go again." And cars are just flying around us. They don't care what I'm doing or whatever. So I went back and then I came back again. And she said that those 2 walks were by far so much better than our last visit that she was hoping that God and I would accept me a second time going around. And they did.
So she sent that video to them.
Yep, there's a group of people there that are very knowledgeable that they can decide from watching me walk and how fast my gait is, how slow it is, my strides, how I handle myself. And there's the speed, again, of which I walk. They got so much information from that they already had suggestions between themselves what dog I was going to get. And they invited me. So they flew me out there to New York City. And I was immediately impressed with their system, Guiding Eyes. They had a young lady there ready to pick me up. She was right there in the airport. The airport TSA wheeled me out to her and she picked me up and it was go time. We got in the car. We talked a lot on the way. It's about 45 minutes to an hour from the airport. So we had a lot to talk about. And she set me up for what I was going to do when I got there. And it just went so easy. And just right at home when I got there, there had to be about 15 people that called me in the 2 weeks before I left. And now those were every person that I was going to meet or deal with during my 3-week stay. And every one of them called me individually. And that was a big help. So when I got there, I already knew everybody. And
did they tell you in advance how long you would be there?
They did. They said we had a big schedule. It's going to be 3 weeks, most of July, and of 22, 23. That was July 23. So they set me up in a room, my own personal dorm room, complete with everything. They hooked me up with snacks in my room and introduced me to the place, took us around. And I say us because I had 5 other classmates that got there the same day. And nobody, obviously, from all over the country, all over Texas, Colorado, San Fran, Minnesota. They were from everywhere. And it was the first time ever I'd been in a room with 5 other blind people. And it was strangely very calming. We all just, our first lunch there together on our first day, they sat us at 3 different tables and we got to know the person sitting across from us. And then at dinner time, we were all one big table. And then we got to know everybody. That was an important process.
So Jim, you had to be there for 3 weeks. You knew that going in. At any point at that time, could you have been failed? I guess I don't know if that's the right word. Could you? Is there any way that you would not have graduated? I guess.
Yes, there are. If me and the dogs couldn't get together, say one didn't work out that they picked, I could have gotten another one, and they would have kept trying. But if I was the problem, getting along, then they would ask me to probably leave and get some more training and development, and then hopefully come back.
So how did Peony end up being matched with you?
Well, again, it was strictly through their process they go through.
So in advance, though, prior to you going there, okay.
Yeah, because on the first day we just got to meet everybody and know when to eat and know our schedule. The second day we ran the schedule without the dog and got used to that. And then on day 3, we got introduced to the dogs that they matched us to. And that was a fun process. And they did excellent with all of us. I think out of the 6 of us, there was only one dog that they had to change out. Everybody else graduated with the dogs that they picked. And we all just bonded.
Greg, any questions or comments on your side? It's okay if not. I know the story. It's your first time hearing all this, so I'm sure it's very.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. But no, I mean, I'm enjoying hearing it. It's the whole process is fascinating and very curated. It sounds like, which is amazing, right? As you're going through this experience that you don't necessarily know what to expect, they're reaching out ahead of time and getting you used to everything from the schedule to it's just it sounds like every detail has been thought about, which is really, really incredible to hear.
There wasn't a time when I was there that I wanted or needed anything else. For the whole 3 weeks, it was an incredible experience.
So in the desire to get through, there's a lot of stuff that's happened, and I don't know that we're going to be able ever to do it justice. But because I want to talk about the change when you got home. So before we leave the 3-week thing, is there any other major experience? I know it was all probably wonderful. Was any other major important detail that maybe we have not covered yet of while you were there?
There were so many details when I was there. Just the preparation that they do to where we'd walk into the room and everything was already set for us. We didn't have to go do anything else. We were on van rides every day, going to different towns, getting on city buses, getting on trains.
Yeah, so you were working.
It was a little boot camp. We worked every single day for those 3 weeks. The trainers were amazing. They were there every day, ready, had the vans ready as soon as we finished our breakfast, and we were off, and we didn't get home till minimum 4 o'clock. Just working in different towns, different settings, went in restaurants. There was just a lot of work. So everything just came together there, and working with the classmates every day also helped. I don't think I could have got through it without them. just 5 amazing ladies. They wanted to work as hard as I did, and they got their job done. And then it was, before you knew it, it's close. It was almost graduation time, and we just couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and there's pictures on their website for graduates and all that. It's a pretty fun looking thing. You know, it was great to see those pictures. So you come home, so you graduate, you have all this, you have, and then just kind of explain from your perspective when you got back home, how was that transition?
That was actually pretty easy because Peony and I were alone the whole time. She stayed right in my room the whole time. I had to take care of her just like any other pet. And the plane ride home was a little interesting. Peony had never been on board a plane and felt the takeoff or the brakes hitting the ground. She was fine in the middle, but taking off on a landing was an issue. But we got home, and my wife had everything set up at home for us. Her cage, her food dishes, everything. And we started walking right from that point. She took me around the neighborhood that she's never known, like she's been around that neighborhood forever, just through my command. She knows when to start and stop, when to turn. I tell her when to turn left or right. She takes me to the curb every single time, never misses. And then we start over our commands from there again. And she had me roaming that neighborhood within no time. And we just really haven't stopped.
Yeah, so the relationship is,
it's amazing.
Like a lifelong.
I used to have dogs in the past, but that's, when I could see, and I loved them and we were all good, but this is totally different. Totally. She's got my life in her hands and she takes care of that.
Yeah, she does. I've witnessed that. And vice versa. You need each other.
Yep.
That's how I see
it. We work together every day. So we're up to 3 miles in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And
wow.
Yeah. I was hoping to hear that response. Yeah. Wow.
She has no problems taking care of that. She's very excited especially in the morning. She's ready to go.
And so there's a lot of rules that Jim, as the human, has as far as taking care of the dog too. So it's not just the dog responsibility, the human being has, and the whole family has a lot of responsibility on the dog. Can you talk to a couple of things that you have to do? And if you don't, you could have risked losing Peony.
Yeah. Feeding is very, very important. One of our biggest things. We were given food there, and that's all they've been raised on, the certain dog food and certain treat. And now every command I give her, which is many a day, she gets 1 treat for each command completed. So she gets a lot of treats going around that 3 miles. But they're all very important. That's what she works for. That's her cash.
Well, I was getting to the point of what happens if you fed her too much?
Oh, they have a weight limit that I have to keep forever. It's within 6 pounds, and her limit is from 48 to 54 pounds.
Wow.
And that's what they want to see constantly. And that could, if she got larger or smaller, they got rules about you better fix this right away or we will take the dog.
Because I think, and I don't know if this is the reason, but I would imagine that if the dog weighs too much, it could mean the exercise is not happening.
Right.
Or the quantity and type of food is probably not matching.
Yeah, what they got.
Healthy.
Right.
Right.
That's why we don't allow, we have events throughout the year and there's nobody dropping a hot dog under the table for them. There's no dinner table food. no counter food, no other treats other than what they tell us to provide them.
Yeah.
And I am sticking to that like crazy.
And how about grooming?
She used to be groomed every single day, and I stick to that. She gets brushed every day. She looks incredible. She's not knots. She's just walks around shining up every day.
Fantastic.
That dog is better cared for than some human beings that I've met, and maybe even myself.
We take care of her.
Yeah, that's great. It's a true partnership. You know, you both need each other and take care of each other. So that's great.
So as we're getting close to the end of our time for today, but I want to make sure that, so now we've gotten to the point where it's like, it's never like you've never not been together. Is how I see it.
Correct. It's nice. Every morning she sleeps in her cage right next to me. Cage is wide open. She could come and go, but she never does. She stays right next to me all day. Just waiting to go for another walk, or just waiting to please. And then when she's tired out from our walk, she just lays down, and you don't hear a peep out of her. She just lays there next to me, usually across my feet, or at least somewhere she's touching my leg or something.
Yeah. That's really neat.
They did an amazing job. From the puppy raiser, up through the other trainers, to the entire Guiding Blinds organization. Amazing. And their kitchen staff was unbelievable. Professional kitchen staff.
By the way,
3
if
meals
you
a
know
day.
this guy, and some of your family's going to see this guy is not an easy guy to please. His wife's in the other room looking at him. No kidding. For him to say anything good about cooking for a 3-week stay, it means something. So that's great.
It's top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think this is what I'd like to at least get in there too for you, is to speak to now. You have, as you can see by the shirt he's wearing, he participated in our birthday event a week ago, 2 weeks ago, where he represented Guiding Eyes and had Peony there. Talk about what you kind of want to do as you move forward now.
I just, I wasn't sure I wanted to do any of that, but they're looking for so many volunteers because they're just growing. They've got another kennel working right now they're building on, and they just want to provide more and more for the blind, visually impaired. So I reluctantly agreed again through this guy to set up a booth there, which I did. And
he was not necessarily a big fan of the idea, but what did you find out after? What did you tell me?
It was a whole lot easier than I thought.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Everyone's welcome. But yes, you did a great job. And
yeah, it was my first time ever doing that. Usually I'm the guy going up to get a hot dog and whatever and look at stuff. But now they, were walking up to me, and I didn't have any problems handling that.
No.
And now I was nervous about this here. Now it's not so hard.
Yeah.
So first time for everything.
Yep.
But
why are you doing it? Why are you getting out of your comfort zone? That's, I think, what I was
because when I talk to others, my other classmates, we still keep in touch almost every day.
That's awesome.
Somebody's chiming in, and you're on that loop. So you just talk, we laugh. But they all see that I can add something to the equation and help people out.
And you want to do that.
Yes.
And I think the
part that, but it took me a while.
Yeah. No, I think I think you wanted to do it. You didn't know how to do it, how you would be comfortable doing it.
Right. Because they're so far away, and I thought that was going to be a big problem. I am not tech savvy on computers, anything like that. So I'm learning all that. But it's just, we were so far away from one another. I didn't think I'd be a good fit. But now I talk to Guiding Eyes all the time over there. I got contacts. They text me out of the blue.
This, yeah, and this was not your event, was it? No. Talk about we do have to include one more thing, that your idea, your family, your.
Oh yes, every September they call it a wagathon. They want all the graduates and any of their friends or family members to be involved in. Of course, we have to walk we don't have to walk a marathon, but we got 16 days to do it. And you could walk a 5K, 10K, half marathon, but we were walking anyway. So let's just go for it. And part of that, during that time, the family had a clam bake, which
his family,
which is like the 67th year in a row we've done it. And I got my sister to help out, and everybody that was coming, which was close to 100, I wanted them to walk
and
a mile with me. And I wanted them to walk in teams with blindfolds. One with a blindfold, the other one guiding them to see what it's like to walk a mile.
In their shoes, so to speak. Right?
So we had a nice long train procession down the neighborhood of a complete mile, and people, even with the guides with them, were walking in the mailboxes, had no clue where they were, and they really had the same sensation as I did and my classmates when we were walking those towns.
And the kids is what I remember.
Yes, many of the kids. We have a lot of kids in the family, and like under 12 or 13, so many, and they were all involved, and they were loving it. They were laughing the whole way down because they knew they could take that blindfold off. And I've seen a couple of them peeking, but those are kids. But it was a great event and added something to that clam bake that the family just couldn't believe.
That's
and
really cool.
We ended up going 41 miles total in the 16 days.
Wow.
And raised over $2,000 just me and Peony.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yep. Above and beyond he went. And that idea, that was your idea. And I know you don't like to take credit, but that was your idea to do the families walking was not the brand new idea. The blindfolding aspect, and I remember you telling me the reaction from the folks at Guiding Eyes saying, "You did what?"
Yep.
And then
they were very surprised, but it was something different that we could have just added to the walk. That just not all right, I gotta walk with Uncle Jamie here. Yeah. We're walking for a reason. So they all accepted that. Yeah.
And not just accept, I think they all benefited from it too.
Yeah, and it's already set up to do it again this year.
Nice.
That's great.
We walk further.
Yeah. So that's, I think, did you have anything else there, Greg?
No, that's all. It's very cool to hear how you're giving back now and being a part of it. So what an incredible story.
Yeah, Peony's a big help with that. She's got me under control.
Yeah.
And she wants to get out there and go walk. And she stayed at that Jim's event as quiet as a mouse. Just if somebody wanted to come up and touch her, I allowed it. As long as I didn't get, we're crazy. And they love the dog. Every one of them just love the dog.
Yeah. And Jim's got an amazing wife who's actually in the backdrop. She refuses to come on the camera, but Victoria's amazing to everyone. But she is way beyond anything. And I also had so many friends like Jim and my neighbors and my family and just everybody. It takes a village. I'll tell you, I have to get to appointments all the time with my health situations, and everybody steps up. Everybody. and you're definitely giving back, and you deserve it. You are always and are always still giving back to people, despite your own personal challenges and all that, which we all have some kind of challenges at all times. But yeah, I think my biggest comment to all this is that I just see Jim kind of back closer to the Jim that I remember. And I'm sure it'll never be the
I've
exact
come a long way.
Yeah, but I mean, it's great to see the progress in your overall outlook. Hope is back. I think you said one time, purpose again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
if guiding eyes wasn't there.
Yep.
I don't know. They're fantastic.
Yep. We appreciate your time, Jim. And I think we'll forego the questions. All right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
We're gonna close out. We can close out all together. It's fine. If that's okay with you, Greg.
Yeah, totally fine. Yeah.
Anyway, this has been amazing. Meant a lot to me as an individual. I hope it's meant. I know Jim appreciates it. I hope everyone at Guiding Eyes shares this, and hopefully it just my purpose for thinking of having Jim McKnight on this show is because I know what he in his heart has, and I also believe that there's people that have stories that are not the same, but maybe a similar journey and then they just have this feeling of aloneness, or I'm on my own. No one relates to what I'm going through. Well, maybe there are some people that relate to what you're going through, and there are solutions, or there's hope. And that's why I wanted to share the story. And I know we've done that, and now it can sit there and be on YouTube where it can be shown to anyone that can benefit from it. So as Greg likes to say at the end of our shows, do your thing, Greg. This is you.
If ever there was an episode to share, like, comment, please subscribe. Please do that. Anybody who's seen this, this is why I think Jim and I do what we do. Is we want to bring stories like Jim's, like Guiding Eyes, to as many people and as many people in the community as we can. And the best way that you all can do that is to like, subscribe, share, whatever the buttons are, things over here, comment, and we'll respond. So please do that for Jim, for Peony, for Guiding Eyes. We appreciate it.
And we'll have Peony see us all. Peony, up there. Peony, look. Peony, can you see? Look at Greg.
Hi, Peony.
She's like, get out here. All right. If there's nothing else, thank you, Jim.
No, I just want to thank you both. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We'll see you again next time. Take care.